Hi. Welcome to Starz Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a Chinese documentary, Western film called Mountain Patrol, which was released in the year 2004. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The opening scene features a news reporter, Ga Yu, who narrates about Kekexili, the last virgin wilderness of China. He explains that this high-altitude plain is the only remaining habitat of the Tibetan antelope. Turns out that from the year 1985, poachers began hunting antelopes for their fine wool, which was prized in foreign markets. As a result, the number of antelopes plunged from 1 million to under 10,000 within a few years. In order to combat these poachers, a volunteer civilian patrol was formed in the year 1993, led by a retired Tibetan army officer, Ritai. Despite poverty and the lack of any government support, Ritai dedicates himself to safeguarding the endangered Tibetan antelope from extinction. The patrol seems to have been fighting fierce battles with the poachers, which also have grabbed the attention of the outside world. The battle has now become so intense that the poachers even murdered one of the patrolmen in the winter of 1996. In the aftermath of this event, Ga Yu is sent from Beijing to cover the story in detail. Upon arriving at Kekexili, he goes to meet Ritai, who is currently at the sky burial of the deceased patrol member. After the funeral, Ritai approaches Ga Yu and asks about his identity. When he introduces himself as a reporter, Ritai instantly dismisses him, showing no interest in giving interviews. However, he changes his mind when Ga Yu asserts that he might help him in his mission, declaring this place as a nature reserve. At midnight, the patrol team receives information about the newfound dead bodies of antelopes in the Jonai Lake. As a result, they all arm themselves with their weapons and drive to the specified location. Now that Ga Yu is admitted into the patrol, he is also allowed to accompany them in the hunt for the poachers, assuming his role as some sort of embedded journalist. After an entire day of driving, they arrive at Budong Springs Conversation Station, which is guarded by a patrol member, A Wang. This man is overjoyed to see the team because he occasionally gets to meet people and spends most of his time alone. When Ga Yu expresses his concern about the same, one of the team members reveals that they do not have enough human resources to hire for this job. So, A Wang has been guarding the station alone for 3 years. The patrolling team spends a night there, dancing and enjoying with A Wang, and drives away the following morning. On the third day of their journey, the team arrives at Jonai Lake, where they are greeted by a distressing scene. Over 400 bloodied carcasses of freshly skinned antelope lying on the ground. They then summon some fishermen fishing in the nearby frozen lake, and ask if they saw any poachers. In response, they affirm, claiming that there were a few, but the darkness prevented them from seeing their faces. As they interrogate, Ritai figures out that those fishermen also don't possess fishing licenses, so he makes them pay the penalty fee. After this, the patrol officers dig up a hole, drag the corpses into it and burn down all of them. Ga Yu is unable to muster enough courage to photograph such a gruesome sight on his camera. The patrolling team continues on their poacher hunting journey and arrives at Yak Valley on the 5th day. On their way, the poachers suddenly launch fire towards their vehicles, causing one of the team members to be severely wounded. They instantly apply first aid to his wound and cautiously look around for their assailants. However, they find no one but a jeep, probably belonging to the poacher. After a brief inspection of the vehicle, they resort to burning it down. After driving for several more days, they come across the Kumar River, where they spot a bunch of poachers across the river. The patrolling team hurriedly gets off their vehicle, takes off their pants and crosses the river to apprehend the hunters. They soon figure out that the poachers group is led by an elderly man named Ma Zhanlin and his son, Chong. They then take Chong away from the group in order to talk to him in private. For the first few minutes, the guy claims that he is just a driver and knows nothing about the gunman. But when the officers threaten him with their gun, he finally agrees to comply, revealing that he is not the mastermind behind all of this and that there is someone else. In addition, he also discloses the whereabouts of the hidden skin. Upon arriving at the exact location, they unearth several bags filled with antelope skin. While the team members take out these bags, Ritai is furious as they are losing more antelopes during the breeding season. Following this, all the apprehended poachers as well as retrieved skins are loaded into their vehicle, after which they continue heading forward to apprehend the main boss. After several more hours of driving, they stop in the middle of vast plain land and set up a small tent. In the midst of the preparations, Ga Yu gazes at the beautiful stars. He is then approached by one of the team members, Dawa. The two initiate a conversation and Dawa tells him that Kekexili means beautiful mountain woman in their native Tibetan tongue. He also expresses how he suffers from homesickness every time he comes for the patrolling mission and how the lights on the roads remind him of his home. Later on, everybody goes to sleep, while some patrolling officers stand guard. The following morning, Ritai wakes up to find out that Ma Zhanlin and Chong have escaped from the tent. This infuriates him, and he vents his anger on the guards, who seem to have fallen asleep at 5 a.m. Assuming that the poachers haven't got too far, the team sets off to find them. Soon after, they locate them running in the distance, so Ritai, accompanied by 2 other patrolling officers, chase them through the vast hills. Due to the high altitude of Kekexili, the air is very thin, which results in them struggling for breath. Despite this setback, the officers somehow manage to catch the poachers, but Dawa collapses during the process. Seeing this, Ritai hurriedly approaches him and tries to perform CPR but to no avail. At this critical point, the apprehended Chong, who is a vet by profession, volunteers to help. He then fills some kind of drugs in an injection and administers it into Dawa's body, ultimately bringing him back to life. In the aftermath of this incident, Ritai instructs one of his team members, Lu Dong, to drive Dawa to the hospital. He also hands him some cash for the medical fees, but it is not sufficient. Left with no other choice, Ritai tells him to sell some of the antelope skins and raise the necessary money. After this, Lu bids an emotional goodbye to his friends and drives away with the injured Dawa. Just as they leave, one of the team members approaches Ritai with the bad news that they do not have enough food for all of them. When asked about its details, he asserts that the food will last less than 2 days even if they exclude the prisoners. Adding to their challenges, the driver discloses that they are running out of fuel as well and that they can travel for a maximum of 4 days if they give up one of their trucks. Upon hearing these reports, Ritai comprehends the situation for a while and eventually comes to a decision: to abandon the prisoners and go for their boss. Ritai then releases all the prisoners from their handcuffs and announces his decision to abandon them, also explaining the reason why he is doing so. He further informs them that it is 200 kilometers to the Al Mountain and 100 more to the Kunlun Pass. They can make their own choice and go wherever they want. Ma Zhanlin requests to be taken along because he is old and frail. However, Ritai can do nothing but encourage the old man to not lose hope. After this, the patrolling team continues their journey ahead in 2 vehicles. The scene then cuts to the 12th day of the mission, and Ritai's team are still on their way. At one point, one of their vehicles abruptly comes to a stop. Upon inspection, they learn that its engine has been damaged and that it can't be repaired. Ritai, who is still not ready to give up on his mission, asks the 3 of his team members to stay there and wait for Lu's return, while he along with the rest of the team resumes their journey. On their way, Ga Yu asks Ritai about how they can reach their destination without enough supplies. In response, Ritai shares his decision to sell the antelope skins they have. When the report mentions that it's illegal, Ritai asserts that they've no other choice and that he prefers to go to jail rather than endangering his team members' lives. Elsewhere, Ma Zhanlin's team are seen walking through the plains under the worst weather conditions. On their way, they are hit by a strong snowstorm that claims the lives of some members. Meanwhile, the continuous snowfall drops the temperature so low that it becomes tough for Ritai's stranded group to stay there. After waiting for a few days, they opt to trek their way home rather than waiting for help. On the other hand, Lu drives day and night as fast as he can because he does not have any food and water. Every time he gets thirsty or sleepy, he gets out of the car and washes his face with ice, also consuming it instead of water. After 3 days of non-stop and extremely exhausting drive, they finally reach a local hospital. Lu immediately gets off the vehicle, but he has no energy to walk, so he bangs on the vehicle's door to summon the doctor. Following this, the injured Dawa gets the necessary treatment, while Lu feels good after several hours of proper rest. Later that night, he meets his girlfriend, Lang Shui, at a local bar where she works. The pair then drive to a secluded location, where they make out inside the vehicle. After this, Lu requests her to lend him some money as he again has to return back to rescue his fellow crew members. Hearing this, Lang is upset with his risky and unpredictable job, and she can't bear how he vanishes for days without any information. As a result, she decides to help him for the last time and end their relationship forever. The next morning, Lu successfully sells the remaining antelope skins and gathers enough money to buy all the essential supplies. Once he fills up his vehicle with them, he makes his way back to rejoin his team members. During his non-stop drive, his vehicle unfortunately gets stuck in the sand. In an attempt to get it out, Lu starts unloading the supplies from the vehicles. In this process, he himself gets trapped in the dry quicksand that slowly pulls him downward. He desperately tries to get out of it, but his movements only worsen the situation. After numerous failed attempts, he ultimately accepts his fate and allows the sand to engulf him completely. On the 17th day of the mission, Ritai's vehicle runs out of fuel, prompting the team to continue the rest of their journey on foot. Ritai and Ga Yu walk forward, while exhaustion causes the rest of the team to lag behind. After hours of walking, the two come across the main boss and his accomplices. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Ritai orders the boss to surrender himself and come along with him. Instead of complying with his orders, the criminal boss tries to bribe him with 2 vehicles and a new house for his family. However, the brave and ethical Ritai is unswayed by his offer and resorts to fighting them. Unfortunately, the patrolling captain is fatally shot by the enemies, while Ga Yu is let free as he's just a reporter. In the next scene, Ritai's body is brought back home and is prepared for a sky burial. The movie ends with captions, stating that Ga Yu's reports on the atrocities in Kekexili had a profound impact on the country. A year later, the Chinese government declared Kekexili a national nature preserve, and established a forestry bureau to safeguard it. The captions further indicate that antelope numbers increased to 30,000 by the time of the film's release. This is my explanation for the film, Mountain Patrol. So what do you guys think about the film? Write in the comment. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.